Today's episode is brought to you by Bones Coffee Company. You can forget about boring coffee when you drink Bones Coffee. Not only do they offer a variety of flavors such as strawberry cheesecake and maple bacon, they are a family-owned company that puts great detail not only in their coffee, but in the artwork that comes on each individual bag. Bones Coffee has a coffee club that will deliver your favorite coffee to your door every month. If that wasn't enough, they also have some amazing swag to offer. Check out Bones Coffee Company today. I'll have my affiliate links in the show notes for you. Hi guys, we are live with another True Crime Tuesday live event. I am going to hesitate here for just a minute because we're going to share it a couple places. I found out last week that it didn't get shared to the group like it was supposed to. I noticed our viewership was slightly less than normal. So I'm going to go ahead and share it to the group. Cricket, do you want me to run it live through your group too?
I just shared it.
Did you get it? All right, perfect. Yep. All right, so I'm going to send out a few invitations. We're going to jump into this here in just a few minutes. Thank you all for hanging on with us. Make sure if you want to shout out, make sure and give us a comment. And sometimes StreamYard doesn't actually give us your name. So if you want to shout out, make sure and kind of sign it for us. Okay, we're gonna send this to a few people. There we go. All right. Okay, so everybody that's on the line, if you haven't been following us, this is True Crime Tuesday, where we try to highlight some cases. We've been going over a series of cases out of Madison County, Missouri, and some of the corruption going on there. So we're going to continue that this evening. Of course, I have my research assistant, Tammy, on the line. Hi, Tammy.
Hi.
And of course, I've got fellow crime writer and victims advocate Cricket Andrews. Cricket, say hello.
Hello, everyone.
All right, we've got a number of people already signed on. Hello, Kimberly. Hello, Barbara. Hello, Venus. I'm going to try to send this to one more person. She was having a hard time getting on last week, and I'm trying to find her in my messenger. I have a few announcements to make. I have a few things to discuss on top of it. Okay, where is she? She just sent me a message. There she is. Okay, send. Okay, you have been officially invited. Okay, so this goes live on Facebook on my actual profile page. It goes live on my SYNOVAINK publishing page, which is a public page for my publishing group, my publishing house. It also goes live. We've shared it live to my true crime group, and it also goes live on YouTube. So if you cannot find it live, you're not available at 7 o'clock on Tuesdays, then you can always catch the replays on YouTube. Those are available. Now, Miss Kimberly, I wanted to contact you and let you know I have a brand new edited video for Durante that I edited. Those of you that do not know and haven't followed us for a while, Durante Martin was killed in the attic of a man that I refuse to say his name. JW is who we'll call him. He was killed in his attic, and it was labeled something else. Now, this specific keyword we're not allowed to say on YouTube, so YouTube blocked the video and wouldn't show it to anybody. So unless you were over 18 and you had all of your restrictions off, so no safe searching on your internet or anything like that, if you have any kind of child safety searches put in place for your, for children using your computer, YouTube would not show you Durante's video because we said the S word. And so not only did they demonetize it, but they blocked it. So unless you had the link and you didn't have any kind of safeguards on your YouTube search engine, you would not be able to see that video that we created to raise awareness about this child's case. And I find it very disturbing. So I spent 2 hours today going back through and editing that live video and cutting out the S word every time we said the S word. And I have to make a stupid dinging sound and flash the a phrase on the screen so everybody knows what we're talking about. But that way we can get that information out, and I'm going to be uploading that again to YouTube later this evening so everybody can share it. But the way it was, they had it blocked in so many different ways, you couldn't even share the link. And so that made me angry. So I spent 2 hours working on that today because that child needs to be told. And I don't care if YouTube has this idea, and this is kind of where we've gotten in our society. If you don't say a word, then it magically disappears. And this is the way YouTube works. They think if you say the S word, then people are going to commit the S word. And I'm like, that's not the way it works. But by hiding that word and not allowing it to be said on YouTube, you are not only hindering cases like this that are just blatantly mislabeled, but you're also hindering all of those people that have mental health crises, and they need someone to talk about this, to give them alternatives and to encourage them and let them know they're not alone. So not only are they blocking cases like this one, but they're also hindering people from getting the help they need. But anyways, I found a workaround, so I will have that uploaded, and I will share the link in the groups and all that, so you guys can have it to share, because I don't feel like that's fair. So that's what I got to spend most of my day doing today. So let's see, Becky signed on, Venus has signed on. Barbara says, "Oh my gosh, thank you for what you do and all of your hard work." Absolutely, no worries. This is what I do. This is just trying to help wherever I can't do it a lot. Now, there is another an announcement that I need to make. Venus says, "Direct, frank words are necessary." Absolutely, and you're hurting people that are having problems. You don't hear the S word and then automatically decide to do it. You have some mental health issues already in place that are causing you to think along those lines. And hearing that word isn't going to make you do that. This is something that we need more people talking about those mental health issues, not less, and making people feel shame. The more open we are with that, the less they feel isolated. Okay, so, but I will get off into my life coaching section. We'll bottle up the life coaching and put it to the side on the shelf. Hi, Karen. Here's another thing. Karen, I did get your messages. I'm sorry I haven't had time to respond. I do have a phone number and a Facebook Messenger that is available all the time to you if you're a victim's family member. Anytime, message me anytime. The only problem is I get, and this is what people don't understand, I get hundreds of messages a day. And so there'll be some days where I don't get very many, but most of the time it averages out hundreds a day. So if you do not get a response from me, it's not that I'm ignoring you. It's either I have shut my work phone numbers off, because I have to have a little bit of a mental health break myself, or I'm still trying to get back through the list. Okay, so Karen, I did get your messages, and I just haven't had time to respond. So I'm not ignoring you, I promise. But I had someone tell me, just hire a social media manager and they can handle all of your Facebook Messenger messages for you, and you never have to touch it, and they'll respond for you and all that. But I don't feel like I'm ready to do that, because I want that open connection between me and the victim's family member. I want that open connection. So I don't want a third party stepping in there and responding in place of me, or a chat bot, responding in place of me. So I want to keep that connection open, because I feel like that gives you more, support if you're talking directly to me versus talking to an assistant or talking to a chat bot. But just keep in mind that if I can't respond right away, or don't answer the phone or a text message or whatever, I am getting them. It just takes me a while to cycle through those. Okay. Okay, so that gets me through all of the messages. Okay, now, of course, you guys have already seen our coffee commercial. I got myself a big, my lighting is weird. It makes my hands look shiny. Look, makes my hands look plastic. I don't know why. But, I got myself a big iced coffee. They have, Cricket and Tammy, they have a cheesecake flavored coffee.
Oh, that sounds good.
Might see about getting that one. I don't know.
You should try it. We should try it.
I think so. As long as it doesn't actually have sugar in it, I'm okay. So tonight I have some more announcements before we get into the case. I am going to be a part of the Buford-Pusser Festival in Tennessee this weekend. So if you are in McNairy County, they call it McNairy County. So if you're in McNairy County this next weekend and you want to stop by the Buford-Pusser Festival in Adamsville, Tennessee, I will be out there. I will be in the museum until about 4:30 or so, 4:30, and then I will be shifting over to the festival in the park area. I'll have a booth space available. So I will be doing that, and I'm really excited. I have a whole new book cover designed and everything special. It's the Buford-Pusser special edition book cover. I haven't done a unboxing video yet. That's gonna be a surprise reveal during the festival, so you can't see it yet. But I do want to tell you, on my bookshelf, I've only got 4 of these left. So if you want one of the original covers and you want this book, the Dawn of the Dixie Mafia, I've only got 4 left. You can get it through my website. After those, I'm not printing anymore with that cover. So that's it. Karen Langston says, where can you find Bones Coffee? I usually put an affiliate link in my show notes. And you know what? I don't think I did that last week. That's not good. Hang on.
Uh-oh.
Because I'm like, because when you're live, it's a little bit different. Okay, so here's the, Karen, here's the link to the Bones Coffee. Okay, I don't know why it split it into 2 comments, but there's the link for the Bones Coffee. And then I'll give you a link to I have all my books are on Amazon, but then I have on my website, I have something called my bookshelf. And that's where you can buy it off of this bookshelf sitting right here, and I'll sign it before you get it. So if you get it off of Amazon, that's great. I love you forever for doing that. But if you get it off of my bookshelf, you get it signed. Okay, so getting done with all the housekeeping. This is where I need an assistant that can copy all these links for me. There we go. Okay, so there in the show note, in the comments is the Bones Coffee link and the my bookshelf. Okay. All right, I think that's all the comments we got. Okay,
Yep.
There we go. Okay, so we're going to get started. Tonight, I am actually blending 2 different cases together. There's not a lot of information on either one of the cases. There is a strong, strange connection between the 2 cases, and yet there's no physical evidence of anything between the 2 cases. It's kind of like everything else with Madison County. You've got so-and-so who is connected to so-and-so who's so-and-so's brother's uncle's nephew's great uncle, so you're like, you're trying to figure out who's related to who and whom. I think is the way that goes. I'm not a grammar Nazi, so thank goodness for that, because I would be in trouble if I was. So we're going to be talking about, if you guys remember back, we talked about a young man who was laid into the road and hit by a car. And then everybody said, well, he was killed by the car. But then we covered that, and we talked about how he was most likely dead or severely unconscious before the car hit him. We already talked about that. So you think, okay, that's one case down. Next, but here we are talking 10 years later, almost to the day. It wasn't quite on the exact same day, but almost to the day, 10 years later, this happens again 3 miles outside of Fredericktown. Now, what are the odds of this happening more than once in the same area and them getting away with it? Well, unfortunately, it looks like they've gotten away with it for the second time. Now, this man's name was Jacob Kirkpatrick. Now, Jacob Kirkpatrick was 25 years old, so he was a little bit older than the other one. Jacob Kirkpatrick was had a past with drug use, but he had been clean and sober for quite a while. He was healthy, and his autopsy said he was healthy and weighed 220 pounds. So, that's a good size, healthy man. That's not, an emaciated drug user. So he was getting his life put back together. He had a job. His mother says he was going to church regularly. He had a girlfriend. His life was better. He was trying to save money, and he was trying to get things started and get his life going. And he stopped by a specific house because someone there owed him money. Now, his girlfriend that he had spent the night with dropped him off, and she promised his mother, she's like, I swear to you, he was sober and happy when I dropped him off. Well, for some reason, she had to just drop him off and leave. I don't know why she didn't stay or why she couldn't come back immediately. But something happened over that short period of time after she dropped him off at this house. Now, Jacob ends up dead in the road again. Now, what happened is he ended up getting extreme levels. His toxicology report shows that he had extreme levels of heroin and fentanyl in his system. Now, his drug of choice when he was an addict was meth. He did not touch heroin. Now, I know there was a podcast or whatever that says he hated heroin. I don't know, but I do know when you're an addict to something, you usually fall back into the old habits and pick up the same thing you dropped. You don't usually, change too much. But anyways, the levels that were in his system were more than double enough to kill him. So it looked more like in his system that it was a hot shot versus it was just something he did. Now, of course, again, we find out that this person was getting his life together, and he was in this place for a specific reason, and yet all of a sudden he ends up dead in the road. Now, he ended up walking about a block and down a very steep hill, and then laying in the road and was hit by an SUV at approximately 4:38. Now, here's another thing. Again, when the mother starts doing some investigating, because law enforcement doesn't seem to do that, all of the people in that house started telling different stories. One story was that a girl there at that house was his girlfriend, and she was going to take heroin, and him, in an attempt to valiantly save his girlfriend from getting heroin, he stuck it in his own arm and gave it to himself. It's like, you want to see someone shoot up here? Now, if that's not the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life, I have heard of hero complexes making men do stupid things, but I've never heard it go that way in my life. I wrote a book about an ex-gangster from Chicago who had the hero complex. And so he was married like 6 times and all this kind of stuff because he, while the damsel was in distress, he was madly in love with her. But then when she got tired of his bull crap, she kicked him to the curb, and he did a lot of stupid things for this hero complex. Never would he do that, so to me that is
and with the hot shot too. And this is something I learned with when I went for the media legal death investigation. It only takes 10 seconds for you to die of an overdose in the arm with a needle. And he had 3 drugs. So, yeah,
we're gonna get into that because here's the thing. It flat out doesn't make sense that he wants to save his so-called girlfriend from taking heroin, so he takes it himself. That makes no sense whatsoever. Then the mother says, wait a minute, he wasn't dating this person. He was dating the girl that dropped him off. He had just spent the night with this girl, and this was his girlfriend. She dropped him off. She tells the mother, hey, I dropped him off. He was clean. He was sober. He was happy. He was just going to get some money that was owed to him. Now, so we're going to take it a step further. We're going to take it a step further. Tammy, let me give you a chance to say something. Do you think that is a normal, you think that Jacob was overcome with his hero complex to save his girlfriend from heroin by taking it himself? Does that sound legitimate to you?
Well, that just sounds dumb to me.
You know what that sounds to me like? That sounds like somebody on drugs trying to come up with a story.
Trying to come up with an excuse to make it, like
Mm-hmm.
he would have it in his system. That would be the reason, supposedly.
Right. Now, Tammy, did you have a list of the 3 drugs? Tammy, you or Cricket, did you have a list of the 3 drugs and the amounts that were in his system?
I'm not sure but it was fentanyl, heroin, and what the heck is it? What when you have cancer, they give it to you to stop the pain.
Morphine?
Yeah, morphine. Yeah. So all 3 of those, and very high. It was a high amount. I can't see any way he could have gotten anywhere.
Right. Well, and studies show that if he had put that much in his system, he wouldn't have made it out the front door, much less walk a block away, stumble down a real steep hill and lay down in the road so a SUV could run over him.
That amount would take you down where you stand.
Yeah, I mean, instantly. That wasn't there was so much in his system. That would have been almost instantaneous. I mean, 10 seconds, 30 seconds at the most. But within 2 minutes, he would be completely incapacitated. There's no way he could have, Okay, so we're going to make this even more interesting. If this is not interesting enough for you, and I'm being sarcastic, and this is my sarcastic smile. This is where I'm going to say something. Oh my gosh, I'm going to get myself cool. Okay. When I was trying to teach my daughter to read, I would teach her a law of grammar, and then the next word we'd learn would break that law of grammar, and we'd go on. And finally she asked me, she's like, Mom, what the heck's wrong with the English language? None of this makes sense. And I said, I kept coming up with this excuse. Well, that's a derivative of the Latin word. She didn't care. This just to make sense. And finally, I just said something that she never asked any more questions. I said, whoever created the English language is on dope. And she goes, she never asked. She laughed. She's like, okay, it doesn't make sense. So now I'm going to ask, let me tell you the story. And then I'm going to ask you, is law enforcement in this area on dope? Because that's the only way this story makes sense, is if you're on drugs, then maybe it might make sense. The so-called girlfriend that Jacob was supposed to be saving in his moment of hero complex is a girl named Angie O. We're just going to name her Angie O. Okay. Everyone in Madison County knows what O stands for. Angie O. Now, when she's the so-called girlfriend, okay, she's also got a rap sheet longer than my arm. When you go on casenet.com, usually you get one whole page, and that's somebody with a long rap sheet. Okay. You go on casenet.com and you look up Angela and her whole thing. She's got 3 pages. You have to scroll through 3 pages. So to say she's got a rap sheet longer than my arm, she's probably got a rap sheet longer than my body. So, but she has been known in the area to give people hot shots and kill them. Okay. She has also spent time in jail for that. it is said that she took a plea deal to lessen her time, and that she may have spent up towards 10 years in prison for such a thing. Okay. So this is the person, this is the witness that law enforcement has decided to take her word for it. Okay, I have killed 3 people by giving them hot shots, but I swear to you, this guy was trying to save me and took his own hot shot. I swear. Yeah. So let me ask you, does it make sense to you? If it does, you might check your IQ levels, or you might check to see if you've shot something up recently. Because does that make any sense to you, Cricket? I mean, I'm not.
No.
I'm trying not
to
say.
Me, I'm always saying, make it make sense. If it doesn't make sense, there's something wrong.
I'm like, is law enforcement on dope over there?
I believe so.
I'm gonna be in so much trouble.
And if I'm not mistaken, JW's name came up again in his case.
Probably. Mm-hmm. I do believe so too, because these people in this area are connected to JW and his at his house. Those are all interconnected, so and so's uncle's wife's babies. Hey, that's his daddy, that's my baby's mama, whatever. They've all, I don't know.
Yeah, so, and that woman BB, she came up again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and see, that's somebody else that we've got on our list that we've got to research. So this is something, I'm trying to be professional. I'm having a hard time. Trying not to be mean. Trying not to get myself completely banned. But where does that make sense? I mean, if anybody watching this video and you say, as a law officer, it makes sense to take the word of someone who's been convicted of giving people hot shots. Okay. This isn't something that's just rumor mill hearsay. This is something that she has spent time behind bars for. Okay. Where does it make sense that as a law officer, you're going to take this person's word for it? To me, that would be the last person you listen to whatsoever.
And sadly, it seems in all of these cases, they're taking the word of the last people that they were seen with, or, they're not looking anywhere outside of those boxes.
Well, and I think it kind of goes back to, I have some theories. Okay. One, there's the obvious conspiracy theory. They're all involved. The law enforcement's involved. 2, a next theory could be they're just completely incompetent. 3, they might be on dope. You never know. 4, that might be. And this is one of those things. I have a case that I've worked for years that will never be solved because the murderer got away with it with a plea deal, spent 4 years behind bars, and the mother was never told where her daughter's body was. And the mother died recently, and I still haven't found. All because that man was an informant for the law officer. So that's an option. That's an option. I hate this.
The autopsy doesn't match up.
Why are these people continuing to do this? Why are they still getting off? They're either they're involved in something with law enforcement, or they are some kind of informant, or it could go back to all the way back to that very first video that we made. We seen some newspaper articles and things where the current sheriff said basically that the druggies will take care of themselves and they just don't care. So there's several options here, but to me, I'm actually working on a book with the ex-gangster I wrote about in my first book, because he was a CI. He worked undercover for the DEA and he worked undercover for the FBI after he switched sides and stopped being a street thug. he was talking about he wanted to write a book about kind of the ins and outs of being an informant. And I told him I would only do that if I could show the downsides of it and how people can get off. And it gives them the license to kill sometimes. And so, okay, let me check some notes. Girls, say something while I check. I've got a bunch of comments I haven't said anything about.
And the autopsy reports didn't match either, did they?
No.
Wasn't consistent.
Let's see. Okay, Billy says 2 things so far. 1, did the girls know each other before? 2, was he mad over the debt, or could it be his friend who owed him money may have paid him in possible OD? Kim says they can't make it make sense. The police are taking the words of criminals, offenders, corrupt, incompetent, and idiots.
Exactly. Cracker Jacks, anyone?
Yes. We like to call those, Cricket and I like to call those triple S's, but we're not allowed to say S word. This is another 4-letter S word, but serious, stupid Saxon. So we just call them triple S's. Not very Christ-like. Lord, I'm sorry. Fredericktown is the Twilight Zone, and that's what I call it. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so getting on to the autopsy, and we could go, more in depth in this, but basically the autopsy, one paragraph will point towards an overdose. The next paragraph will point towards something else. And so depending on which paragraph in the autopsy you read will depend on your findings. And then the findings, he said, were so vague that he didn't really say either way. Now, one likely story that the mother heard in her own investigation was that when he got there, there was a fight over the money he was owed, and they hit him in the back of the head, and they broke his neck. And once they broke his neck, they knew they were in trouble, so they gave him a hot shot and threw him in the road. And there is some, if you look at his autopsy, there are some breaks in his neck that look more like something a car would do, crushing, breaking, shattering. But then there's one kind of odd looking one that is almost a straight line fracture. And you think, okay, how a car is going to crush, it's going to ground bone, it's going to grind it down into little bits of nothing. It's not just going to split it in a straight line. What hits that is usually, if you get hit upside the head, I mean, that can break it. So you've got an autopsy with the same coroner that's had his results questioned over and over and over and over again. You've got that not working. You've got conflicting stories. You've got a man that was getting his life together and was happy and clean and sober. And then all of a sudden he ends up here. Now, is there something else you guys want to say before I blend this off into the next one?
Well, I just want, so many of these young people are getting their lives together.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of them, as we all are, but we have to remember, to stay clean, you need to stay away from people, places, and things.
Absolutely.
Because as soon as you go back, that's when trouble starts.
Absolutely. And you have to change your environment, and that includes the people you're with. And then you also have to remember, not everyone's happy for you for getting your life together. Some people are jealous, and some people, jealousy is strong enough, they will kill. I mean, some people are just flat out jealous. They don't want you to succeed. They don't want you to overcome something that they're still struggling with. They automatically get jealous and they lash out. And so I think some of that played into this deal. And I think some of that played into Durante's case too, because to me, yes, they may have killed him because he was a black kid. I'm not saying that at all, but I think they hated him because he had what they wanted.
Yeah.
He had a amazing future waiting for him. He had won a football scholarship. He had earned a football scholarship to college, and so many people long for that. You know, he had a good life started. He had a job. He had money. He had, you know, and they hated him for it. You know, and so I think his skin color probably played into that because of some of the people that were there, but I think they just hated him because he was a good guy, you know,
Yeah.
and unfortunately, that is the way some of these people are. They will hate you if you succeed. They will hate you.
Yeah, they want to keep you down. They don't want to see you climbing up that ladder.
Absolutely. You know, and I don't know, it breaks my heart because I'm thinking, you know, people say in the news that the druggies will take care of themselves. The druggies are taking care of the good kids too. They're taking the good kids out too. They're taking out the ones that are fighting and scraping and trying to get their lives together. They're taking out the you know, future NFL. So I mean, we don't know what Durante could have done. I mean, he could have been in the NFL. You know, he could have had a Super Bowl ring. You know, no telling what he could have accomplished. And we'll never know because these so-called druggies will take care of themselves. They're taking care of the good kids too. You know, they're hurting each other, but they're hurting people outside this circle. See, Jacob had stepped outside of their little clique, got his life together, and he was coming back to pick up a debt, and he was killed over it. Durante had got his life together, and Durante had a football scholarship, which I know a lot of high school guys that would have given their ITs for a football scholarship to college, you know. And he wasn't going to no podunk college either. I mean, he was achieving something, and so I think we need to realize if you are a former addict trying to get your life together, you need to understand that your brain is operating differently than their brains. They may have been your friends your whole life, okay? But don't go back. Don't go back because you can't guarantee how they're going to react to your success. You can't guarantee how they're going to react to finding out that you're clean. You can't guarantee that because their brain's not working the same way as yours. You know, so we'll get off. Here I am back into the life coaching thing. Let's see. Barbara Hall says, yes, I were told they were informants. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes, misery loves company, they say. That's what the sheriff says. The druggies will take care of the druggies. She's not concerned about it and was told numerous times from people in the courthouse. You would think she would at least put on a public front to make people think, because she's an elected official. So, you know.
Yeah, that's what I don't get. They're just
but she doesn't
blatantly, they don't care how they look in public.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she got busted on the news lying.
Yeah. Because they don't think anyone's ever going to do anything about it. Okay, so let's get on to the next one, because I was trying to make these True Crime Tuesdays shorter because we want the podcast to be longer and the True Crime Tuesdays to be shorter. But, you know, we can only do what we can do. Okay, now, if that wasn't bad enough, this case ties into another case. Now, before Jacob died, before he got those drugs administered into his system, before he was laid out or thrown out into the road, before all this took place, he had a cell phone and he tried to call a friend, a childhood friend. I think it was 7 or 8 times. Well, this person didn't answer the phone. This person was asleep or didn't have a phone. I don't know what, but her name was Ashlyn Ketcherside. Okay. Now, Ashlyn didn't answer her phone that night, and so she wasn't there to go get Jacob. Okay. Now, Ashlyn would end up dead just less than 4 months later in a drive-by shooting. Okay. Now, she had gone to St. Louis with a friend. His name was Josh Long. He was driving to St. Louis. I don't know what they were planning on doing in St. Louis. I think she was just riding along with him because she was bored. But whatever the case is, when they got to the East End neighborhood in St. Louis, their vehicle was riddled with bullets and they were both killed. Now, law enforcement have very little to say about it. They think that they were in the wrong place at the wrong time. Some people say that the hit was actually put out on Josh. Other people say the hit was put out on Ashlyn. It could have been a random act of violence. There's 3 options there. Either one could have been the target, or it could have been a random act of violence. I just find it highly suspect that this is the person that was last called by a man who was given a hot shot and killed 3 months before. Do you girls find that? Do you guys find that to be a coincidence, or do you think there's something there?
Well, from what I've heard, and I'm not going to put rumors out there, Josh allegedly owed people money.
Mm-hmm.
But the money that he was paying with wasn't real.
Oh.
So that's why he was going where he was going. And she was bored and wanted to go along for the ride. So it could be wrong place, wrong time. Or
she was the hit because she was the last person that Jacob tried to call.
Yeah.
To me, it's really, really sad because Ashlyn's dad recently passed away because he was struggling with some severe health issues. And so he's passed away too. So he was kind of the big one fighting for justice for her. I'm still, I haven't got a chance to reach out to her family yet. I'm still planning on it. I'm also planning on reaching out to Jacob's mom. We had a scheduling conflict. I wanted to talk to her before I did this video, but I couldn't because I'm getting ready for the Tennessee trip. So I've got everything I've got to do. It's usually stretched out for a whole week. I've got it crammed in 3 days. So I will reach out to that family, and if I get more information, we'll make another video. But here's the thing again with Ashlyn Ketcher's side. That was November 1st of 2020. Nothing's ever known about it. Nothing's been done about it. The family keeps calling in. They say they don't have any leads. At least their case is not in Madison County. It's in St. Louis. Maybe something will be done. I don't know, but
I hope so. I mean, it's a shooting. In fact, there was 3 shootings that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, are they not looking into any of them?
Right. Yeah.
And the paper said that she was in the floorboard and killed from the bullets that hit him. So it's not like she was even intentionally killed. From what I saw in the paper, the bullets hit him and hit her.
That could be because of that could be. You have to be careful when you're reading just newspaper articles because you get a reporter trying to piece together a story, and then you get more information and they piece it together a little more. So depending on the timeline of when that article was written, the more information comes in, the more story will come out. So sometimes what will happen is they will say something in the beginning when they're following a breaking story, and then you find another newspaper article that was written 6 months later and it says something different and it says more detail or whatever. It's because they have gotten new information come in. So that's kind of the way that goes. Kelly Kirkpatrick, there is a lot more to the story. Kelly is Jacob's mom. Thank you so much for signing on and watching. I want to get with you when I get back from Tennessee, if at all possible, because I know there's so much more that we can talk about Jacob and get out there. And just down to, again, Kelly is sitting there as a mother, begging for help, asking questions, putting herself in danger. I mean, because there was one thing I read where she was driving by the drug house that he was found in, trying to get information, so She shouldn't have to do that. That's the cop's job. You know, the police officers are the one that's supposed to be casing the drug house, trying to get information. The police officer should be interviewing all the witnesses. The mom shouldn't have to put herself in that spot. Okay. But she's out there, you know, trying to get this information. You know, you've got law enforcement intimidating her and trying to bully her while she's making funeral arrangements. You've got all these different stories, and you'll find when I'm making these videos, half the time, I don't want to be redundant, but every single one of these is the same story. Every one of them. You've got Barbara Hall getting different information from everybody she talks to about what happened to her child. Okay. You've got Kimberly Lott getting all kinds of different information of what happened to her grandson. You know, you've got Kelly. She's getting this different information. Every one of these people were supposed to be in the same house when this person died. And yet this mom is getting all this bombarding information, and she takes it to the cops, and the cop says this one phrase that makes me furious. You're just a grieving mom. It's time to get over it. I'm sorry. Women have brains in their heads. Just because we're upset and angry and crying and frustrated because we've lost somebody doesn't mean that we need to be dismissed because we don't know what we're talking about. I get so furious when I hear that kind of crap over and over again. These mothers have a freaking right to be upset. They have a right to be irate. They have a right to be bawling their eyes out. How dare you tell them they're just a grieving mother and they need to get over it? I think you need another job if that's the way you're going to be to a grieving mother. Since when does motherhood say, okay, your IQ has dropped now. You don't have any common sense. You can't make any decisions on your own. You can't question anything that doesn't make sense. That's not what motherhood is. If anything, motherhood makes you stronger, faster, better, smarter, because you have to survive yourself and you have to have these other little human beings survive with you. So I'm tired of women being dismissed because they're not emotionally stable at that moment. Do you want to know why we get emotionally unstable? Because we let our emotions out. Because if we didn't, there would be a lot of dead people. There really would. You know what I mean? Because we let our emotions out. We don't hang on to them. Okay? So stop dismissing mothers as they're just grieving. They can't figure this out. They're not smart enough. They're not capable. You know, I absolutely am sick of hearing that crap. A mother has instincts because that other human being sitting over there is a part of us. Okay? And it doesn't matter that they're detached and over there now. Okay? There is a connection with a mother and a child that science can't explain. Okay? So the next time law enforcement decides to dismiss a grieving mother, I hope they think twice. Because I guarantee you, if you, on your high horse, got knocked off and killed in Fredericktown and thrown in the ditch, I guarantee you'd want your mother fighting for you. So there. Girls, say something. I'm going to
it does make you angry. And mothers know their children more than anybody else. And that's what ticks me off, you know, because we know our kids' habits. We know we know everything about them.
Yep.
And yet to be constantly told, oh no, you're wrong, you're lying, you're this, you're that. Mm-hmm. No, we're not the ones.
No, and when it comes down to it, anybody can see this stuff and there's questions. I would like to make a video just on each individual one, but I was thinking about Durante today because I was re-editing the video we made about him. And I thought, I think a startling video that might really jog somebody's, emotions would be if I just made a video that was just a black screen and then just pop up random questions. I guarantee you I could find 100 questions that cannot be answered in the Durante Martin case. I guarantee you, if I just popped up, how could this happen when his right arm was in a cast? Okay, that's one. Okay, and if you could just make a list of all those, I guarantee you we could come up with 100 questions. And then if you just seen the whole list, just another one, another one, another one, another one, another one, I think that would be a startling video, don't you, girls?
One question just leads to 10 more.
Exactly.
And the sheriff, Katie, she's a female, you think she would have a little more empathy for these mothers. I don't know if she's a mother or not, but.
Mm-hmm. Well, you'd think she'd have more empathy about her town. She supposedly, wasn't she raised there or something? She said in her campaign, whatever. This is her town. She's lived here for all of her life or some BS or whatever.
Yes, and she obviously doesn't care about her town.
I'd say if your town is this overrun, it's time for you to do something about it if you love your town. So, okay, guys, I'm going to have to close this off. I am so angry. My chest hurts. I've got to get off here. Anything closing you want to say before we go? I've got to give away a book. I'm going to give away a copy of my 2018 Shattered Case Files book. Okay, girls, closing comments before I really say something to get me banned.
Yeah, just everyone have a good night.
I don't know. I try not to
breathe, Sonova, breathe.
I'm trying. I just, when they start coming against moms because we are too emotional or we are, less than somehow. I'm like, a mother's not less than.
No.
Ever.
You don't mess with mama bears.
I just like, that's it just, to borrow a Southern colloquialism, that burns my hide. There you go. So, it really does. It really makes me angry. Okay. So Cricket, pick a number between 1 and 32.
15.
15. All right. 15. Let's find 15. Who was the 15th person to sign on? I'm sorry, guys. I'm serious. My chest hurts. I can't even. Barbara Hall says the sheriff has no kids. No kids. Barbara, I could say something about that.
Yeah.
I've got to shut up on that one. I got to shut up on that one. Okay. What did you say? 15?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay, that's you, so we have to go past you.
Okay.
Venus Smith.
Venus wasn't the 15th to sign on, just the 15th to comment.
Oh.
Venus signed on right away because Venus was the third person to sign on. Venus, I'm sorry. Normally you're the first person signed on, but you was the third. You're going to have to get faster.
It's all Cricket's fault. She picked the wrong number.
Terrible.
Well, you got three comments from Basanova.
Yeah. Well, see, I'm looking through the comments that are on all of them. They're all coming through for me. Okay, so Billy Rash. Hey, my buddy Billy from Texas. He's got a cold case that will blow your mind too. He says, I watched my mother cry over the dinner table many nights. Yeah, his brother, cold case. Billy, you need to get with me, and I need to write about him on my blog because we never did get around to that before I got out of true crime for a while. Okay. Venus says, breathe, girl, breathe. That's always the best thing. Yeah, I'd say. Okay, so Billy, I should have your address somewhere because I think I've mailed you a book before, but send it to me again. Make sure get on Messenger and send me your address again, and I will send you out this shattered book. I'll sign it for you and send it out. So, girls, I'll try to behave next week. I promise.
Just remember to smell the flowers and blow out the candle.
Right. So I will try to behave. So see, that little 3-letter word helps me get off if I mess up.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you for signing on. Like I said, I will reach out, Kelly, next week. And I'm sorry, my schedule didn't work out this week. I would like to talk to you about Jacob, and we can do another video if we need to. And so, guys, this all I got for this week. I will see you guys next week. Like I said, send me whatever messages you have, and I will try. Like I said, I have to just take them one at a time as I can because I get so many. But I will do my best to get to all of you. I will see you guys next week. Thank you so much for signing on.
Stay safe.
Bye, guys.